New Sam, N.J. Mortensen, Aaron O'Connell, just finished signing paperwork for his pay through her company for work. She's got her second employee now. Things are moving up. They're making their way to meet Emerson. Were they picking up Cecilia on the way?
Yep. What Aaron would be saying.
Then Cecilia will see a really pretty old car pull up. You can pop it up if you want to see it. Doesn't matter though. It's just a pretty car, and I like it. See, it's a pretty car. It's a fancy car, and everybody loves it. Cecilia sees that car pull up with Aaron sitting in the passenger seat. NJ driving as they arrive.
Aaron opens the door. Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
Well, I'm glad to see you're not driving. I'd hate to see this thing scratched. She hops in the back.
Good evening.
Evening.
And off to Emerson,
No, this is
she begins driving.
We are a fabulous coterie, as he kind of smiles.
I really think Emerson's the only one who's fabulous.
Alright, so when you guys pull up and eventually get to the door, it's opened up by Emerson's retainer, who looks as sleepy as always, yawns a bit when the door opens, and then covers her mouth really quickly to make herself look more presentable, I guess, in appearance. And with her free hand, gestures into the living room, where you can kind of see Emerson on the phone. He's on a cell phone, and he's kind of he looks agitated. He's like not yelling at the phone, but he's like loud talking into it. You can hear him say, "I don't care, Glenn. You get someone in my place tomorrow around 8 p.m. I want to see him. We all agreed that we'll bring someone new into the circle, buddy. Okay? This is how things grow. Everyone's pulling their weight except for you." And then I kind of wave my hands at you guys to sit down. Sit down, guys, sit down. I'll be real quick. So Emerson kind of wanders off into like a side room where you just can barely hear him talking. He's talking about the Equestrian Society, no doubt. You kind of get the picture that some of the members, some of the original members, aren't pulling their weight and bringing in more people. So you guys are made to wait for like maybe 5 more minutes before Emerson comes back, all smiling. Aha, okay, here we are. Lovely to have you all here.
Emerson?
And the 4 of us all together. This is great.
Well, Aaron kind of stands up then. I thought 4 of us should be together when I give you my little proposition, or a little plan I've been deviating.
Proposition's awesome. You know, why don't we go to the round table? Because I got a feeling that this might be something important. And I follow you guys. I lead you guys to the backyard where the patio set is, and I pluck myself down in that chair. This is basically the same place where the coterie was formed. And Emerson kind of rotates an ashtray as he eyes you. After, of course, sitting down.
Okay. Aaron kind of just sits, so he's kind of at the very end of the round table, and kind of sits there, kind of, but like a judge presiding. He kind of just slams his fist down on the table. Okay, coterie is now in session, I guess. He kind of looks to all of you improvingly.
Yeah.
And he then sort of stands up then and lights a cigarette and goes, okay, the reason why I have called you all fine individuals here this evening is, well, I've had a bit of a thought. And I've discussed this with two of our other members, and I thought, well, it's time to bring our fourth and final most member on this little plan of mine. You see, Emerson, I'm concerned about a little member of our kindred society named Axel and his misgivings. And, well, for starters, this man is responsible for the near death of three of this coterie already. And I have a bit of foul news and reports of what I've seen his private business, particularly his feeding habits, are. And Miss Mortensen over there can verify this. He has been seen eating people.
And NJ visibly shudders at that, thinking back to Flash's nose.
See my ooh.
He points over to NJ. She saw him put Flash, the little Bruja, nose after he cut it off clean into his mouth. I have seen him devour someone whole with this Ahava woman from a trash bin. I have also reason to suspect, as he looks at NJ, that he ate Billy Schultz's fingers.
It's a very reasonable assumption.
Ghastly.
Now, my plan involves a bit of theatricality and deception, Emerson. Your two favorite things. I owe a minor little favor to Axel, where I have to secure some transport for him. Basic cars, non-traceable, you know, the logistics. But if he's eating people, what do you think he's using the cars for would be a safe assumption, correct?
I nod to you. I'm following.
Now, what happens? I know a person who can secure these cars, and I can simply request the paperwork as a form. Now, here's the beauty. Axel always goes on to you. I'm sure you've heard it. Cecilia definitely has. NJ has. I most certainly have. How he's a problem solver. What happened? Suddenly he becomes a problem. So much of a problem that the elders have to act. And what would they do to the people who presented, well, a solution for these problems?
Well, they would reward them, most certainly.
Now, and what would, I know Axel has a history with your clan, he seems quite adamant on not liking. How would it feel if those cars were registered in a Ventru's name? How do you think tensions will be? It would almost embody the problem that Axel is creating. It would look like a deliberate act, wouldn't it?
Perhaps. Go on.
Now I'm thinking, if this paperwork is brought to a DMV or something and it's signed, say, I know Axel doesn't like Stephen Wright, and the cars are registered in his name, it would look like Axel is planning to frame Stephen in a masquerade breach, wouldn't it?
Maybe, yeah, certainly. Something would look suspicious, fishy.
Now, this is the tricky part. I'm gauging your options. Now, this is my general plan. I'm wondering what the other three of you think, because I think you'd agree, Emerson, that this is a problem, and this needs to be addressed, and it would behoove us fine individuals here to show ourselves as loyal members of the Camarilla.
Emerson just nods at you.
And I've decided to trust each of you with this, because you are my valued coterie members, and I trust each and every one of you with this. So, the board's now open. let's discuss this and see where we go. As Aaron sort of sits down, very kind of with a big smirk on his face, kind of gesturing for all you to suggest the plan, how we can make this plan effective.
All right, so let me run through what you just said, and correct me if I'm wrong. So he eats people, and what does he use these cars for? To dispose of the body?
That can be a safe assumption, yes. Wants them with a heavy boot and quick ability to move.
Mm-hmm.
Non-traceable as well, that was a stress point.
All right, and you want to screw him over because he almost got the three of you killed.
And tried to murder a child, Emerson.
Oh, that's not good. How come?
Responsible, in part, of Abel Crow's death.
How is this guy still riding high in Club 33 if he's doing all these things?
Harpy support, I guess. I don't
Maybe.
sure. That's where you and Miss are going to come in handy. You guys are good at what you do in terms of finding the political schemes. This is where this will become most ideal.
Fact check. Let's just speak to the Harpies, find out if Axel's actions were sheriff asked. That would put pressure on and definitely help those words spread a little quicker.
Alright, so now we're coming up with a plan to screw him over, right? Or do you have
Correct.
one already in your back pocket? And you're just waiting to hear what we have to say?
Well, I presented my general idea and I'm wanting each of your opinion. I'm not willing to move unless I know I have this coterie's full support.
Okay. What do you see the end goal of this? What do you want the end result to be?
Axel Linwood to be handled. And for each of us, a reward. Position.
A position.
Okay.
Now, what do you mean by handled? You want him killed?
Not killed. Well, that's up for the court to decide, but I want the court to know that it was neonates who saw the problem, and it was neonates who brought the problem to them. And if needs be, if he must die, but if he is brought down, if he is made, say, Caden, that could be interesting, or as long as he is punished adequately, whatever the prince or whatever court may decide, but definitely removed from the so-called seat of power would be nice.
Alright. Okay, and you think if we mention to the Harpies or the powers that be that Mr. Linwood eats people, do you think that's enough to have him destroyed or brought low or kicked out of the Camarilla?
Why do you think I'm suggesting we create a masquerade breach of him and his little habits for him to...
No. That might work. But might be easier said than done. I'm sure he's very discreet with his cannibalism. Now, one thing, see, imagine that you, let's take you back, I say, as I open up my hands on the table and do like a theatrical circle on the table. As if I'm like, wiping a black mirror to look into the past or into the future or whatever. So let's think back to a time when when they hunted, they had to eat what they caught, right? So the difference between that and today is this thing called a refrigerator, right? Now, if he solely relies on eating bodies, if that's even true, if he does, then wouldn't it be more, I click my fingers now, convenient to have a fridge to put these bodies in? If he eats corpses, at least.
He does have a fridge.
Ah, that's it.
He has
That's why it's so
fridges.
dark. Ah,
He's still got to transport the bodies there somehow after getting them.
exactly.
So we can make both of these work.
NJ and I are good at what we do in terms of detective work. How about Aaron kind of looks intently. If I can get pictures of these bodies in the fridge quite quickly, that and the evidence from the cars might be enough for any person. I mean, hard to dispute what's in front of you.
Is the fridge in the obsidian shore, NJ?
Yeah, it's in the basement where his food stuff is.
Ah,
Oh, what would happen if a health inspector came a looking on an unfortunate... Let's say if he was sloppy one night and didn't clean for the morning after, and we happened to put things in place to clean up before something went too far, after this is becoming more public to our kind.
All right. See, that sounds. I love the health inspector idea, because a health inspector would come during the day when Axel is asleep, and they would find what they find. So there's no shenanigans, right? But see, that would put Axel away, if it's even true that he is a cannibal, and if he even has corpses in his freezer or fridge or whatever. That would put the nail in his coffin, so to speak, because there's no coming back from that.
Emerson, I watched him cut the nose off of Flash. Then when Aaron was driving us back, he was chewing on it like it was a piece of jerky to snack on.
I watched him maul a person in a bin, chewing on her, saying he was disposing of the evidence. I also watched him torture a man, and there was chunks sticking out of him when I arrived. He seemed to be quite enjoying it.
Ugh. I make a disgusted face. I say, all right. Well, there's no denying it then. He is what he is. And it sounds like he's quite brazen about the fact that he eats these things, these people. It says he does it in front of you. So yeah, I don't know. I can call the health inspector right now if you want. It's as simple as going.
We just have to make sure he's too full or too intoxicated to clean it up, or at least vomit some blood if he is too full and tries to continue eating. Because I'm sure otherwise it may be sparkling clean, or he may have other things in place to ensure that even if it's not in a good state, it's not easily accessible. But
I still think
to go anywhere they wish.
I still think if one of us can get into that basement during his little open seasons, is everyone comes to the bar, person goes up, brings him up to his room to chat with him about business. He looks at NJ. I can go downstairs and I can see a hell of a lot better in the dark than any of you guys can. After all, I have a camera. I know what I look for.
Sounds like a plan. So, do we wait on calling the health inspector until we're sure he's got bodies down there?
Once he has bodies there, call the health inspector, and I'll get my contact to deliver me the cars.
Alright, sounds wonderful. Now you'd know that if he actually has bodies there, and this health inspector finds out, he's going to call the cops, and Axel is going to be a manhunt on him, right? And if he does something as silly as live where he works, and he's going to get brought out into the sun, he's going to vanish in a puff of smoke as mortals try to arrest him.
That's
So this
why
might just be, yeah.
That's why we maybe should inform a higher up of our little plan once we find the body.
I don't know. Do you want to inform the higher ups?
The Harpies have known for a while that he eats people.
And they haven't done anything about it, see?
What about Stephen Wright himself? What about Stephen Wright himself? I know he doesn't like Axel. I'm sure he'd be eager to take a shot.
I look at you quizzically as you bring up
Mention the bodies, don't mention anything else.
All
Do you
right.
really
No.
want too many people knowing all our hands just yet?
No.
If we are going to tell the higher-ups, let them off the body, we stop it there. We don't let the health inspector know. We just suggest, what if? And if they don't act on it, take it as a warning, and then we'll bring them in. And they can clean it up. And then Axel can know them if...
So let's say the Harpies know, as you said that they do, and then suddenly we tell them, hey, we know he eats people, and he probably keeps them in his establishment refrigerated. Do you think that they're going to care at all? Do you think the fact that they're being refrigerated in his place is going to change their opinion? Because they already know that he eats people, right? That's like the major thing that we're all wound up about, I should say. But they know. So there's nothing new there. So it sounds like we shouldn't even involve the Harpies at all. Because what new... Yeah.
Exactly my point. The Harpies only get involved when the problem is out in the surface. We only bring them in when the problem is screeching right there in front of them and they can no longer turn a blind eye to it.
Exactly. So we get him in trouble, right? We do this health inspection, right? And then they'll have to act, and then they'll have to punish Axel. That's it.
Yeah.
Or maybe, no, maybe. This is great. No, I think Cecilia is actually right. Let's go back a moment. Let's go back 20 seconds. So you tell the Harpies that you suspect that Axel might be a cannibal and that he might have bodies in his fridge, right? And leave it at that. It's just like a rumor or your suspicions. 1 week later, a couple days later, health inspection, they find bodies. And then the first thing the Harpy is going to think about is, oh, yeah, Cecilia told me this might happen. They'll associate this breach of a masquerade with proactive comments made by whoever one of you three wants to make them.
I'll put myself up first.
What should the rest of us little do then? We gather more knives to plunge it in Caesar's gut, or do we sit and wait? Because I know, as he looks at NJ, we can plant something on those little cars to track Axel's movements, where exactly, if he's burying the bodies, they would be.
Yeah, do what you need to do. But I like your idea of keeping him occupied as you examine the basement. That sounds great.
There we go. So, Darren kind of stands, points to Cecilia. Start spreading that little rumor. Just a rumor.
Now?
Just a bit.
I'd love to
Maybe.
wait it out a little bit.
What the rest do you think?
Well, you want to wait it out a little bit? Is that what you said?
I can start tomorrow night with these rumors if you wish.
Perfect. Now, they're not rumors, though. Right? These are facts. But yeah.
Well, yes, sources who were actually there and are too disturbed and heartbroken or unsure on actually how to state it and are too scared to have their names attached to such freaky information given their standing. I paint it like that.
Oh, that's good. Now, while Cecilia is doing this, NJ and I will do what we do best, and NJ can go, well, we'll go over to the Obsidian Shore together. NJ can say she has a meeting for Axel or something. You know, Malkavian business, all that. I will go downstairs and do what I do best with my eyes and take a couple of pictures, find some bodies. Once I have the bodies, health inspector, and we blow this thing wide open. Then, well, when the fallout happens, gentlemen, ladies, I suspect once the harpies lose their mind, I think it should be us four who should be calmly presenting a solution. Maybe a suggestion in the right ears. I know, Emerson, you have particular good ways of doing that on what should be done with our dear problem.
I'm sure that if the four of us get this ball rolling down the hill, imagine it's a snowball, it's going to just get bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where we won't have to do much. Just watch the end result.
You see, Emerson? That's my plan. My way, if this goes off the way I want it to, Mr. Linwood won't even know it was any of us who did it.
Okay, so we're all in on it. Hands in the middle. Hands in the middle. I put my hand in the middle.
NJ puts her hand in.
See the interest?
Aaron does last and kind of at the top, kind of just this kind of, this is my plan. You know, this very kind of, yeah. You know, kind of.
I grin at you. All right, on 3, code rename. 1, 2, 3. Invert. All right. Okay, anything else we need to talk about?
Emerson, actually, before we go, do you have a supply of ambient, actually, that I could borrow? Just a couple of tablets I need, you know, relief.
Okay, hold on. You need some relief. All right. I can give you relief right now if you need it.
Oh, no, this is for a party later.
Oh, I look suspiciously at you. More girls? Surely you don't need to put them to sleep.
It's for feeding with a friend. The gentleman never tells, Emerson. He kind of smiles.
I reach for my heart, and you can see me like tugging at my shirt a little bit, as if I'm like crunching it up. But then I like flick my hand in the air for just momentarily as I leave this back yard and open the screen doors. I don't close them. You can see like mosquitoes getting into the house and shit like that. And the bright light of the living room, and you can see me like right from where you're sitting. If you turn around, and you can see me like reaching underneath the coffee table, and I like pull out a bottle, and you can hear me shaking it. Like, well, you don't hear me, you see me shaking, and then I come out back to you, and I'm holding the Ambien prescription. I say, well, how many do you need? 3? Is 3 enough?
Many as you'd like to give me something that packs a punch. Aaron adds as he winks to Cecilia.
Okay, well, I shake the bottle into my hand. I have 5 pills, and I hand them over to you. I let them drop one at a time into your palm.
Aaron smiles and takes out a plastic bag from his jacket and just rolls them neatly in and just folds them in the jacket. I'll tell you how the result goes.
You know,
a wink.
Excellent. You know, a very beautiful girl looks so much less beautiful because I get these. And Every moment of the night, if my eyes aren't on her, she is sound asleep. And I gesture into the living room where you can see, like, on the couch, just a hand because of the angle. You can clearly tell there's like a limp hand of someone sleeping, no doubt. No doubt the ghoul that lets you in. Yeah, there she goes, at it again. How is she gonna get those deep black pools under her eyes to get me the next prescription? This girl should not be sleeping.
Hi.
Anyway, darlings, anything else?
What if we don't find the bodies?
Then this whole thing makes no sense, right? Then we have to go all from the beginning. We'll meet again, and we'll think of something else up.
Exactly.
When you're looking in the basement, look to see if he has chunks of meat, pieces of meat, because he may have chopped it up. That'd be the smart thing to do in case people just do a cursory glance.
Don't worry, NJ. I know how to.
And don't forget,
Mm.
rumours and hints can be as powerful, if not more so, than having the full facts in front of you. I think recent events have proved that. But actually, before we go, Emerson, speaking of, well, good looks on over to Aaron, parties and party favours. Any more news on Club 33? I've heard of a few ripples in the water recently.
Well, the membership's been talking about having a meeting for the last couple of weeks, but nothing has materialized. So honestly, there's nothing new, nothing old. No
A few
news at all.
peoples have been revoked. I just wondered if I could get some clarification as to why.
Say that again, darling. What's been revoked?
A couple of people's memberships, apparently. I wondered if you'd know anything about that.
Huh. I don't think I've heard anything. I look
The
in
news
deep
on who's
thought.
in and out of favour?
In and out of favor. Well, honestly, darling, no word of a lie. Maybe I am. Hold on. In and out of favor. Well, I know the sheriff is back. Clearly, you all know that.
Yeah.
I know. I know that Duncan's been absent. That's old news. I know the courts should be meeting soon. Now this is like, they should have already met, but whatever. I know that there's an Archon, and they've been attending private parties at the club on Saturdays, but I don't know if that's anything important or pertinent.
I think what Cecilia means is if there's people falling out of favor and their invitations are invoked, it means
Yeah, I haven't.
for her and I maybe to, well, particularly me, get in.
Well, darlings, there isn't a cap on membership. If someone gets kicked out, it doesn't mean that there's instantly room for someone else.
But it would be good to know who doesn't like who.
Yeah.
So, if they're having private parties, let them up for hire. And also, do let it spread, but I'm very interested in meeting up with the sheriff and Duncan at some point.
Probably mention about me with the sheriff as well on it.
Certainly, so I have not had a conversation with the sheriff beyond just a nod of my head and acknowledgement that he's there. He's not the kind of crowd that I hang out with.
Of course, but word travels fast. If it will travel up the grapevine, it might eventually get to him.
Certainly. But you know what? Because the two of you ask, because I'm such good friends with all of you, because we're all on the same page, on the same team, of course, when I see him next time, I will definitely have a conversation with him. Despite his appearance, I will speak highly of the two of you. and we'll see what happens.
Thank you, Emerson.
Oh,
means-
no problem.
Well, great talk as always, everybody. I look forward to our plan coming to fruition. As Anne kind of slaps the table, kind of coterie meeting is adjourned. As he kind of sits up and well, no, I gotta go and finish a date. Zarin kind of just looks back to see the kind of pot his head coming, or am I going on my own?
Give me 2 seconds. Are you asking me to come and watch?
But we want to feed. Zarin kind of just swaggers out, really. He wait for you outside.
Well, since I'm the driver, I guess I better go and get ready to take him wherever I'm taking him. Good evening, Emerson.
Good evening, darling.
Oh, since it looks like that's all that people want to say, that's where this scene will end.